Hello, BookTube. Sorry about that. I offer apologies, but I still firmly maintain that none of you would be able to resist doing what I just did. Yes, I was in the middle of a video. And you would have been in the middle of a video too, but would you be able to sit still if you knew that there was a box of free books out on the landing? No, you would not. You would stop what you were doing and go and grab them and squeal a little, and so did I. But the nice thing, I was talking about this with a friend of mine who watches tons and tons of BookTube, but is not a BookTuber. And he was pointing out, you know, then one of the nice things about your channel, talking about me, one of the nice things about your channel is that it's so in real time. And I had no idea what he was talking about. He said, well, you don't edit, you don't lay down any effects, you don't sit on videos. You make them and immediately upload them. And so it all feels like it's happening in real time. I hadn't realized that, but I guess it's true. I'm in your queue, your inbox every single day, and things like that happen. And I just go right back and turn on camera. So we're going to continue on with the mail, but this second mail video will be much longer than the first one. So let's just continue. So we finished with Around Harvard Square. We'll make it part of the same book haul. Oh, look at you. So let's see here. Okay, so this next one is by Khalid Khalifa, and it is Death is Hard Work, a novel called Death is Hard Work. The career of the Aleppo-born author Khalid Khalifa goes back more than 20 years, though it was about a decade ago that he began to gain wide international recognition. In 2008, the New York Times' Robert Worth dubbed him one of the rising stars of Arab fiction, and his novel In Praise of Hatred, while banned in Syria, was published abroad and nominated for the International Prize, Arabic Literature's answer to the Man Booker. When the political tensions chronicled so vividly in his fiction exploded around him in civil war, Khalifa's family and friends fled the country. But amazingly, Khalifa himself has refused every opportunity to leave Syria. He has stayed in Damascus and continued to write. His new novel, Death is Hard Work, is an extraordinary result of this decision, a novel that shows what happens when a writer of remarkable gifts composes a work of art from the eye of a hurricane. Okay, but we mentioned this before. Does that mean I'm not allowed to criticize it as a novel? You stayed in Syria. You are writing from the eye of a hurricane, and that informs your new book. Why is this not a memoir? It isn't a memoir, though. It's a novel. And as a novel, it has to do what novels do. You don't get to rewrite the genre, no matter how. Well, anyway, let's see. In Death is Hard Work's opening paragraph, Abdel Latif, resistance fighter and patriarch to a fractured family, passes away in a manner that nobody around him ever seems to these days. He dies of old age. The novel chronicles the efforts of his 3 children to honor Abdel Latif's dying wish to be buried next to his sister in the family's ancestral village. With their country a war zone, what would otherwise be an errand of a few hours' drive becomes a harrowing odyssey through the heart of Syria's unraveling, one in which the siblings must navigate checkpoints and bribes, dodge snipers, survive encounters with corrupt police, extreme militias, and wild dogs, and keep their father's corpse from being quite literally arrested. Okay. All right. Okay, great. This is out already. Or it comes out on February 12th, so that would be Tuesday, right? That would be it's due right away. And it's a slim little thing, so I will get to it right away, because I don't think, if I have an advance copy of this, I know I haven't read it. The description, the plot there, automatically makes me wonder if Khalid Khalifa is even aware of Faulkner, has even read Faulkner. That's interesting. I'll have to see. So we're off to an odd beginning here. These are. Let me scooch a little closer to you, BookTube. These are odd beginnings. We'll just keep going. There's lots more to do here. You ready for another one, baby bean? Ooh. Oh, great, fantastic. Okay, this is the finished copy. Also a paperback. Also coming out in February. This is the finished copy of. The Breath of a Whale I showed you the advanced copy of this. This one has a more textured finish, and the colors on the whale are more vibrant because of that. And this is a book that goes deep to discover the elusive lives of whales in the Pacific Ocean, drawing on dozens of years of research, observing, and probing the lives of the giants of the deep. Fantastic. I love this kind of book. So a lot will depend on how well it's written, but I'm willing to jump right in. In fact, I'll be jumping into quite a few of these right away. I mean, look at this. These are the books that we've had so far. That is the length of one history book. So that is almost no time at all for me. That's an afternoon to do all 4 of those. So I'm doing fine so far. Let's move on and see what else we can find here. I hold up a package and you all just see this little fur ball erupt out of nowhere to take it off my hands. Okay, this comes out again in February. This is a paperback release from Mail-Haulus. It's now in paperback, so this probably came out in hardcover last year. When did this come out? Yes, came out in 2018. This is by Gregory Smith-Simon, and it is Cause and How It Doesn't Always Equal Effect. And what have we got here? Some of the largest problems in our world today are difficult to distill into a simple question, let alone to answer. We turn to our family, our friends, our elected officials, and ask why things happen. More often than not, our answers lead us to misguided reactions and imperfect solutions. But what if our reasoning, our understanding of cause and effect, is all wrong? What if what we urgently need to change is not how we answer these questions, but how we ask them? Well, okay, what if indeed? What if indeed? So this comes out on February 19th. Some of the largest problems in our world today are difficult to distill into a simple question, let alone to answer. I wonder if the author could name me one of those. One of those that actually fits that problem. I wonder if the author could name me a large problem in our current world that it does not have an easy formulation as a problem and an easy answer as to why. I wonder if the author can come up with an example of something, of a question like that is not, in fact, easy. I'm going to remain a little skeptical. But I don't think I ever read the book in hardcover, so I will read it in paperback. Let's see. You ready for a little more? A little more roughage in your diet? Let's see. Oh, okay. Is this another paperback original? No? No, this will be a hardcover. This comes out in May. Sorry, it's by Adam Ehrlich Sachs, and it's called The Organs of Sense. And the reason that I'm nonplussed is because, of course, it has Geoffrey Chaucer on the cover. And I'm wondering why. I'm writing to share with you the delightful debut novel. Okay, great. Debut novel of fathers and sons, palace intrigue, bids for power, and ever longer custom telescopes. In 1666, an astronomer makes a prediction shared by no one else in the world. At the stroke of noon on June 30th of that year, he says, a solar eclipse will cast all of Europe into darkness for 4 seconds. This astronomer is rumored to be using the most powerful telescope ever built, set atop a mountain in Bohemia. But he is also known to be blind. Both of his eyes were plucked out under mysterious circumstance. 19-year-old Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz determines to find the astronomer. He will try to judge whether the astronomer is insane, a fraud, or, least likely of all, a man of reason whose perception transcends sight. He arrives at the remote observatory a mere 3 hours before the time of the predicted eclipse and, While the two wait for midday, the astronomer tells Leibniz the story behind his singular telescope, his eyes, and his strange prediction. Okay. Why'd you put Chaucer on the cover? And poke his eyes out? Why'd you do that? Just because he's old-timey? He's not the same time at all. All right, so who is Adam Ehrlich Sachs when he's at home? He's the author of the collection Inherited Disorders, which was a semi-finalist for the Thurber Prize. His work has appeared in the New Yorker, Harper's, N+1, among other publications, and he was named a 2018 National Endowment for the Arts and Literature Fellow. He has a degree in history in the history of science from Harvard, where he was a member of the Harvard Lampoon. And he currently lives in Pittsburgh. Good Lord, how are the mighty fallen? That's okay. All right, well, this comes out in late May as a hardcover. Okay, a little odd, little on the odd side. Let's move on here. Let's find out what else we got here. Bean, you want yet more cardboard? Good wee. Oh, she's taking these things, but she really wants more manila. The manila envelopes. These cardboard things are a little much for a tiny little mouth. So let's see here. Okay, now we have a thriller. This comes out in early March. This is by Michelle Adams, and it is Between the Lies. The next page-turning novel of psychological suspense from Michelle Adams, author of the thrilling debut If You Knew My Sister. Will have you questioning everything and everyone until its stunning climax. In the vein of Alison Brennan, this novel is an addictive psychological thriller with twists that keep the reader guessing until the last page, where a woman who's lost her memory is back home with a family she doesn't know, who are keeping secrets of their own. Okay, so in early March, another thriller in a year that is very heavy with thrillers. That is great. All right, let's move on here. This one's awful big, Bean. This may be too much for you. Yeah, see, she's not even jumping at this one. You're listlessly biting at it, but these cardboard things aren't doing it for you. Poor thing. Oh, okay. Okay, I was wondering when this was going to arrive. This is due any day. This is due next week. And I have had the advanced copy, but I haven't... I wanted to read it in the finished copy, so I've just ignored it. And this is yet another in 2019's endless stream of historical novels. This is by Mary Calvi, and it is Dear George, Dear Mary, with a kind of a brushed sketch cover that I really like. Don't you? I really like that. Look at that. The title is on old parchment, old paper, and that is... I like it. I think it's a very well-designed cover. And it is a novel of George Washington's first love. Let's see here. Mary Calvi spent years as a child wondering about the heiress who once lived in the grand manor in her hometown of Yonkers, New York. Where I've spent a great deal of time in Yonkers, New York. Oh my. She'd heard in passing that the heiress was courted by George Washington. Curiosity compelled her to do her own research, and what she uncovered stunned even her, a New York City TV anchor, reporter, and winner of 9 Emmy Awards. And this is her debut novel, which she wrote. She did all that research about the heiress who was the original idée fixe of George Washington, and decided to write a novel about it. Did unrequited love spark a flame that ignited a cause that became the American Revolution? No. Never before has this study about George Washington been told. Crafted from hundreds of letters, witness accounts, and journal entries, Dear George, Dear Mary explores George's relationship with his first love, New York heiress Mary Phillipse, the richest belle in colonial America. Fantastic. That's great. I have not read this. I've had it sitting there tempting me. But I wanted to read the finished copy, and now I have it. So a lot of these things are going right onto the hopper. A lot of these things are going to be read in the next 24 hours. Then let's move on here. I forgot to mention this ends in a box. Mail haul. So what is this next one? Yeah, we've got some mail for you. Yes. Yes. Ooh. Ooh. All right, what have we got here? Oh, God, help us. Okay, all right. All right, I love the folks at, I love, as you all know, you watch this channel, I love academic presses. I think they're fantastic. And I love the people that are at them. They're some of my favorite people to interact with all day long. And I love the folks at Princeton University Press. I mean, all the publicists for university presses can probably guess where my heart lies. You would think it'd be Oxford University Press because they do so much of the deep diving history that I love so much. But if you look at my reviewing history, I don't think it takes long to figure out that, of course, my favorite academic press is Yale. But I love the folks at Princeton. Absolutely love the fact that I'm on so many mailing lists. But I admire, this book is out already, and I admire their faith in my reading ability. This, I think, is a bridge too far. This is by Philip Ording, and it is 99 variations on a proof. And in case you think that that is a very elegant, you know, novel title, no, no. This is an exploration of the art of mathematics through 99 different proofs of the same theorem. I'm not sure I'm going to understand even the pub sheet. This lively and compelling book, oh, that will be the day, offers a unique, multifaceted perspective on mathematics by demonstrating 99 different proofs of the same theorem. Each chapter solves an otherwise unremarkable equation in distinct historical, formal, and imaginative styles that range from medieval, topological, doggerel, chromatic, electrostatic, psychedelic. Along the way, the author weaves these variations into an accessible and wide-ranging narrative on the nature and practice of mathematics. Oh, come on. Okay, all right. So are there going to be mathematics in here? Oh, my God. What on earth? Look at that. What am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to review this? There's no way in the world I will understand this enough to review it. Okay. All right. Well, now I'm viewing it as kind of a challenge. I mean, I don't think it's going to come to anything, but I think that of all the books that I've seen so far today, I think I will read this first, or attempt to, just to see how long I can go before it baffles me and to go any further. And then we have proofs for theorem. All right, and then we have the box. It's not a big box, so it's probably not Steve books. An absence of Steve books in this mail haul. But it will still be... oh, speak of the devil. Okay. All right, this comes out in February. Bean, if you can just wait, I'll hand it to you. This is from the aforementioned Oxford University Press. This is by D.W. Pasulka. It comes out any day now. I think it's probably out already. And it is American Cosmic, UFOs, Religion, and Technology. I think we saw the advanced copy of this. There's a highway road in the late at night, forest all around, which is iconography for UFOs because UFOs don't abduct people from city streets in the middle of broad daylight in New York. This is where it always happens. And that is part of the problem. More than half of American adults and more than 75% of young Americans believe in intelligent extraterrestrial life. This level of belief rivals that of belief in God. I would argue it's the same thing, but American Cosmic examines the mechanisms at work behind the thriving belief system in extraterrestrial life, a system that is changing and even supplanting traditional religion. Over the course of a 6-year ethnographic study, the author interviewed successful and influential scientists, professionals, and Silicon Valley entrepreneurs who believe in extraterrestrial intelligence, thereby disproving the common misconception that only fringe members of society believe in UFOs. Oh, now. Whoa there, Nelly. Whoa there. Not the author, the writer of this pub sheet just pulled a massive 3-card Monty switcheroo. I'm sure you caught it. Let's go at that again. The author has determined that he's interviewed all these successful scientists and professionals who believe in extraterrestrial intelligence, thereby disproving the common misconception that only fringe members of society believe in UFOs. Those are not the same thing. A belief in extraterrestrial intelligence is based on the Drake equation. It's based on the staggeringly high probability, given the number of galaxies, the number of stars, and the number of habitable planets, that there must be intelligent life. Just the probabilistic analysis of the fact that it cannot have happened just one time. That is the reason why those professionals and scientists believe in intelligent extraterrestrial life. A UFO is an unidentified flying object. A UFO is that intelligent life making the incomprehensible journey to Earth and then not announcing themselves. Instead, hiding around on backcountry roads and abducting people and cattle in order to rectally probe them and then wipe their memory and send them back into society. That belief is relegated to the fringe of society. And those two things aren't the same. I think you'd have to be correct. I myself tend to believe that until you've seen something, or the likelihood of something, you should rule it out instead of ruling it in. But one way or another, anybody would look at the number of exoplanets, for instance, that we discovered just in the last 2 years, thousands of them, that are in the Goldilocks zone of their stars. In other words, they are not too close to be so hot that chemical bonds can't form, and they are not so far away as to make liquid water impossible. Instead, they're in the zone where life could actually form, and where ours did. Even if you narrow the limits of what you consider life and what kind of life might end up being intelligent, and just confine it to that Goldilocks zone, there are now, that we know of, thousands of planets that fill that bill. We didn't know that even 10 years ago. We just knew that there were that many stars, and that of those stars, if you drastically limit and work the probabilities, you still come up with thousands and thousands of candidates. So in a system like that, it's not irrational at all to believe that there's intelligent extraterrestrial life. That's drastically different from believing that life gets in saucers and comes here to experiment on humans in secret. Let's see here. The author argues that widespread belief in aliens is due to a number of factors, including their ubiquity in modern media and the believability lent to that media by the search for planets that might support life. This book explores the intriguing question of how people interpret unexplainable experiences and argues that the media is replacing religion as a cultural authority and that offers believers answers about non-human intelligent life. Okay, well, I have an advanced copy of this too, and I haven't got to it, but that is right up my alley. Boy, oh boy. The pub sheet is a little slippery linguistically, but that is right up my alley. Fantastic. Okay, so we have a very baffling mail haul here. A lot of very little books that I will jump right into. In fact, I'll read a lot of this in the upcoming few days. We have basically also seen a TBR, but we'll start with this thing. 99 variations on a proof. God help us. Then Dear George, Dear Mary, a debut historical novel about George Washington's first attempt to marry into money. I'm sorry, his first love affair. Then American Cosmic, about Americans and extraterrestrial life and UFOs. Between the Lies, a new thriller. The Organs of Sense, a novel about Leibniz. Cause and How It Doesn't Always Equal Effect, now in paperback. The Breath of a Whale, classic elegiac natural history of a type that I just love. Death is Hard Work, by an author who has determined to stay in Damascus and work, despite the fact that his country is devolving into a war zone. Around Harvard Square, by C.J. Farley, about the Harvard Harpoon. And The Trouble with Men, by David Shields, who I suspect does not actually think that there is any trouble with men. But I suspect this author has a way of getting under my skin. And I think you'd all agree that when it comes to reading, that's a good thing. So, but you can see already, I mean, there aren't many of these things that are going to take me very long. And there's quite a few that I'm interested in right away, starting with the theorem book. So I will get right to that. But that's our mail haul for today. It was interrupted, but if there's more, we'll be interrupted again. I will come back. In the meantime, we have other things to talk about, so I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.